I'm Ken Mondschein. I'm a historian and a writer, the author of about 8 books, depending on how you count them. And I'll be teaching narrative nonfiction and history writing for Pioneer Valley Writers Workshop. History isn't just something dead. History is alive, it's with us every day. And from the stories of the past and from the personalities of the past, we can take away things that can enrich our own lives. What I like to do for my students is to teach them to uncover those stories and to also take their own stories and their own experience and to apply them to their writing and to find those angles that they can take, not just to grow their own passion, to really set themselves on fire about their project, but also to draw other people in, to kindle that spark that's going to become a bonfire. If you're looking for an angle to take with your story, there's a number of tasks you can take. There's always the human interest. Here's how this thing happened. There's the just so story. Well, here is how plastics came to be. There is also the element of near misses, historical near misses. This thing was almost so. How did this thing almost not happen? And then of course there's also the real truth angle. Here's what everyone thinks happens. Here's what actually happened. Another question I frequently hear is, well, how do I grab the reader's attention? What is it that makes history, or really any nonfiction, appealing to a reader? Well, history is boring, isn't it? Well, no, it's not. Think of one of the oldest pieces of literature we have, the Iliad. It starts in media res, right? It's the story of a war. You might think it's boring, but it starts right in the middle of the Trojan War. It pulls the reader in. It starts, as we say, in media res. So, it's seeing muse of the wrath of Achilles. Why is Achilles angry? Well, because Briseis, the slave girl that he feels he's earned, guy with a lot of entitlement, has been taken away from him. And of course the entire plot starts from there and the whole thing crumbles. It doesn't start all the way in the beginning with the beginnings of the Trojan War. In the same way, if you're going to start a history of World War II, start with not really even the invasion of Poland, start with D-Day and then look backwards. How did we get to this point? And the same thing can be said for anything, including family histories, for stories of education, really looking at the biggest crux, the biggest plot point, and then how do we move backwards from that? How did we get there? That's how you grab the reader's attention. But no matter what, we have certain sorts of structures, certain sorts of stories we've been telling each other historically for years and years. And the way we structure reality is inherently through stories, and that by finding the angle, finding the plot, finding the seam, that we're able to take that human interest, we're able to take that story, and we're able to give it a universal appeal. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is playing it safe. That there's something about narrative writing and narrative nonfiction that is often controversial, that it's things that are in the real world, things that have happened to us, sometimes things that are tragic or things that are politically fraught. I would say not to shy away from controversy, that not to shy away from having an opinion, because that's also something that draws the reader in. This is something that is applicable to your world. This is something that's going to tell you how to be or how not to be. And nothing grabs someone's attention quite like that. People often ask me about research, and people are often stymied about, how do I do research? Where do I find the sources? Research is something that everybody can do, not just in your local library, not just on the internet, but also interviewing people, interviewing members of your own family, interviewing people who were there. And then, of course, if you want to get into the academic research and see what other people have written about things, sometimes in very obscure journals, there's ways around those academic paywalls that make the specialized knowledge that sometimes seems academia keeps to itself and hoards. Well, there's actually hidden spigots that you can turn on. And if you know just where to turn those spigots, then the sources of information, which may seem so specialized and so remote, are actually a lot more accessible than you might think that they are. The idea of taking stories, real stories, true stories, stories that are sometimes crazier, more out there, more insane than any fiction, and bringing them to people and explaining this is how it happened, and what's more, this is true. That's my passion. And what I want to do, what I want to bring to my students is that same love of writing and writing history writing any sort of narrative nonfiction, and history being really just one genre, just one tool we can use to write that, be it a history, be it in essay writing, be it a story of a political campaign, be it local history, be it the Barns of New England and the history of the architecture of the Barns of New England. There's a story in there, something that reflects the human experience. And sometimes in the microcosm, even, we can find the macrocosm, that which is going to be universally appealing to all people.